We just arrived at the treehouse. It's literally, I feel like, where Snow White would live. I would say where Winnie the Pooh would live.
Oh yeah,
We had different references.
No, Winnie the Pooh is way more accurate actually.
So, a little bit about our trip so far. We were supposed
not
to...
gone as planned at all, and it's all because of me.
We were supposed to be here yesterday morning, but
I thought that every 40 minutes like a ferry would pass and we would be okay. I didn't check for the ferries, I didn't book the ferries, I didn't do anything about the ferries. I was like, okay, there are ferries, we'll just board on one.
So yesterday morning, while we were driving, I had the idea, I said, okay, let's go online and see what time do the ferries leave. Like every half an hour, every 40 minutes, and I check online and what do I see, Cynthia?
There's only one ferry leaving and it's at 10 a.m. and we're not gonna make it.
And it was like 9:30 a.m. and we're 3 hours away. We had to reroute. We called the guy that has the treehouse.
And then we thought, okay, let's go to Kerkira and then Paxos. And we
Which is another island.
And we booked tickets to Kerkira, but from Kerkira to Paxos, then it didn't have like tickets with the car. So
then I tried to call the boat line and say, okay, can we change our tickets from Kerkira to Paxos and make them for today? So like one day later. And then they told us basically we cannot do that because the boat line that we had booked did not have a trip for today. And also we had zero cancellation policy, so like we couldn't make a return, like a refund claim. The treehouse was located next to this empty land, so Cynthia and I decided to go for an evening walk around. More like I forced her to come with me, but she still came. We took a look around at all the plants that had grown and felt as if we were standing on forgotten land. Then Cynthia stumbled and scratched her leg. Initially it seemed like nothing, but moments later, blood started gushing out of the scrapes. Crystal blue waters, green lush trees on cliffs, and James Bond waiting around the corner for his next mission. That's how being in open water on this side of the island felt like. I had heard about this island's beauty, but to experience it in first hand was truly something else. The sun felt like a spotlight on this natural beauty, guiding us to look only her way. We eventually drove on the other side of the island, which was way less windy, and found this green water corner to anchor our boat and enjoy the rest of the day. By that point, we were starving, so we resorted to the one snack that never failed you on a boat: a cheese and potato chips sandwich. Then it was time to explore again, so under the water we went. Once again, it was so clear you could see lots of meters ahead. The seabed felt untouched. Occasionally, a flock of tiny fish would appear swimming near the surface, and some larger ones swimming closer to the bottom. The sea life this time was very subtle. A blink and you'll miss it, or at least that's what it felt like. So I made sure to take lots of deep breaths before I went underwater to get as much oxygen as I could. People had started to gather around us, and it was time for us to pack up the anchor and head back. That was mainly Cynthia's duty, as I was in charge of the engine. The anchor on this boat weighed a bit more than the ones usually used in similar ones. It was around 10 kilos, so Cynthia got a nice upper body workout that day. The gods of vacation blessed us, and during lunch, I overheard a couple talking next to us about an Irish music festival that was being held the next day in an old public school. And of course, we immediately booked the tickets. The setup was dreamy. The warm lights, the old gravel, and the green trees made for the perfect backdrop for this summer night. Even the way they had set up the water with 3 different options, lemon, grapefruit, and cucumber, felt like a magic hand was adding to the beauty of the day. We sat on our chairs and waited excitedly for the concert to start, and soon enough, the sun fell and the lights opened, and there were the musicians blessing us with their music. Have a listen. and Mom left a bit earlier, and when the concert finished, I went to join them in a bar nearby, with the most magical view of the port. The day was at its end, and I couldn't but feel immense gratitude for the beauty my eyes had seen, and my ears had listened that day. My heart truly felt full, and I couldn't wait for tomorrow. The next morning came around, and around 6 a.m., I got outside to do the thing I promised myself I would do: run. Now, it was very humid, so I tried running early in the morning to avoid the extreme heat, but nevertheless, it still felt like self-induced torture. To cool down, I decided to pretend like I'm one of those kids that throw the balls in the tennis games. I always wanted to do that, so, using my imagination, I made up a whole tennis match in my head. I then remembered free will exists and proceeded to play a mix of tennis and volleyball by myself. Every time the ball would successfully go over the net, I heard a fake crowd going wild in my head. And that added around 5 years of lifetime in my heart. A weird thing I noticed on the island: 8 out of 10 people on scooters were women, which is not the case usually in the mainland. We found yet another beautiful breakfast spot tucked away in the middle of a road that was covered in olive trees and a distinct lack of human life. This place turned out to be way larger than what it seemed out front. That, as we learned, was used weekly to host DJ parties with live violins and music players accompanying the DJ. But this early morning, this place held a different energy. A wholesome brunch spot perfect for a sweet and salty appetite. And just like that, it was time to head home. We drove past beautiful scenery like this mountain that felt like a miniature version of Uluru in the outback of Australia.